Farhaven, I think, is a different film from what you're used to seeing you in it. Was there something about Hunter? Was there something about the premise, or maybe even your co-stars that drew you to this film?
Yeah, it was different for me in on a couple of fronts. It was the first lead in a movie I was offered in a few years, going back to like, Longmire, playing the other guy or being one of the guys on Saving Grace or something like that. And then I started to get a couple of leads here and there, and then the pandemic kind of shut things down for a little while, and then I just kind of didn't really have another breakout role really until now. And it was great. The director, took a risk on me and made a straight offer, and the money was good, and I love the cowboy thing. So it was a no-brainer, and it ended up being a really rewarding experience. So it's nice when those two things sync up. You think it's going to be amazing, and then it actually is amazing. So
I mean, how familiar then were you with riding a horse, shooting guns, all of these things? I know you were familiar with. I
a little
mean,
bit yeah, a little bit like riding a bike.
yeah,
The
right?
horse thing comes very naturally to me, and I'm lucky to have started riding when I was young, and then I didn't do it for a long time as other sports took over in high school and college, and who knew, I'd move out to Hollywood all these years later and get back on the horse. So
I mean, it must have been a dream come true almost for you too to play a cowboy in a sense as well. I
yeah,
mean, isn't that every boy's dream?
I don't know if you know my whole long story, but yes, I did. I grew up watching Clint Eastwood movies, and that was my dream. It was single mom and a brother, and she was at work, and we got to watch TV, and it was old Clint Eastwood westerns, and we go out in the yard and shoot each other, and want to be like him, and so it seemed like a natural transgression for me to go from high school, college, and sports, and go, try to be the next Clint Eastwood. Not that I'm there, but we're hopefully sort of moving in that direction, sort of.
Well, I found it so interesting. There's a layer to Hunter as well that he has PTSD and he's been
Yeah,
deemed a traitor for treason because he abandoned his post. And uh,
yeah.
what kind of information were you given as far from director Gary Wheeler or maybe the writers about that level of influence on who Hunter is? He was raised by, you know, eh, family, and his father-in-law is very um, deep rooted in, you know, you put your country, or his father-in-law served his time in the wars. His wife is very eager to remind you uh, when you're trying
Yes.
to get back
Oh
into the
man.
lives of your children.
Yes.
Um, what kind of information were you given on the level of PTSD that maybe he's suffered? And was there some sort of research you did? I mean, you can't really obviously go back in time to that level of to that year. However, PTSD is still a common occurrence.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's a lot of me and Hunter Braddock. I think that's why it, resonated from, right out of the gate. I did that with, Branch and Longmire, and pretty much every character that I play today. I look for the flaws, I look for the cracks in the armor. Um, I tried to be perfect and everything to everyone when I was younger, and got cast in some of those roles. I guess since Barbie's out, I was trying to be like Ken a little bit, but the years tick by, and you live and learn, and I now, I've got some scars in life, but those wounds have healed, and you move on, and I look for the same in my characters. And I think, my hope is that the audience sees that, and they feel that, and they can resonate that what I'm, giving off resonates within them, and hopefully, they can heal their wounds the same way I am, through that journey, because they can identify something that's going on with that character, Branch, Hunter Braddock, whoever, and can help them with something in themselves. That's the goal.
Wonderful. And you have such incredible co-stars in this
I
film. It
do.
makes it like
I do. I'm so
incredibly easy.
lucky.
I
I
mean,
do.
Bruce Boxleitner is like iconic, and of course
I
everyone's
know.
familiar with Amanda
Have you seen the
Rigetti.
poster? I mean, there's all these alpha males on one poster.
Martin
I'm like,
Cove,
what's,
I mean, he's the bad guy of
yeah,
every, like he is the ultimate bad. He might be up there, like
totally.
it might be like Ivan Draco and then like Martin Cove, like
Totally.
John
Yes.
Brees. It's pretty
I mean,
close.
can we get, yes, yes. Can we get any more bad guys on this poster? Um,
Were you familiar with
but
any of them
they're
before you
bad
worked?
guys with good hearts. They're actually big teddy bears, and we got to
Yes,
know
in
each
real life,
other,
thankfully.
pretty well. And we'd, sit by the hotel pool, after we wrapped, and they'd, tell old war stories, and, what Hollywood used to be like. And then it was really fun. And then, Martin's son, Jesse, is on the film too. And he's great. And so, he's behind me in years, and, I'm somewhere in the middle between those guys. And we had a really nice time. And I, hats off to Gary Wheeler, the director. He's a dream to work with. Not just a great director, but a really quality human being. I mean, he's salt of the earth. So that was awesome. Cool.
Well, Hunter's supposed to be estranged from his children. Did you spend much time with Lev or Livy, or Lev and Livy,
I
I should
did.
say, to sort of create a familial bond? Or maybe Gary encouraged you to be a little distant so that you can have that distance between you
Well,
all, so to speak.
you talk about these, things and roles being cathartic, and things in your life coming out on the screen, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm playing the dad. And not only am I playing the dad, like, they're not babies, right? Lev and Livy are, they're driving. So they're still kids, but they're big kids. And they have great energy, and they got along really well together. And so that obviously lightened the mood. And it's not always the most comfortable when you're, shooting on a 1880s wagon, over, bumpy, not roads, but bumpy, fields. And then we're trying to, say our lines, and it's 100 and whatever degrees out in Arizona, but we had a great time. And yeah, hats off to Livy and Lev. They're just they're little young professionals, man. It was a joy.
With such green effort physically and emotionally, how did you shake off a long day of filming? I think maybe even you touched on it a bit. You guys would go to the hotel and just maybe talk war, talk shop a little bit, or the old days.
Yeah, but the shoots weren't that hard. I mean, you talked about the cast, and I, just put me in front of, Bruce, Marty, A. Martinez, Chris Mulkey, and all I had to do was really be present, react, watch what was going on with them. So that, and the writing is a bonus. So the work days were fun. And then we got back to the hotel, and, get some food, and have a drink up by the pool, and, look at the stars. And, that was fun too. So, I don't know if I've got 3 young kids at home, so it's much easier for me to be on location working, than to be home doing
Wrangling
homework.
kids,
Yes,
like
take a
wrangling
bath,
cattle.
brush your teeth. Oh my God, it's like a broken record over here every day. So in many ways, I mean, I love being home, but in many ways it's easier to be at work.
I'm curious, what was maybe your most memorable or even your toughest scene to film for Farhaven? Because I feel like maybe it's the one where you and Bruce are together, and you're kind of trying to say, I've I'm better now. I'd like, I need to, my wife would have wanted me to be a part of these kids' lives. To me, that's going to be a tough scene to film because you need to emote with your eyes and you need to emote with your
Yeah.
heart and those things. And you really feel like, okay, this guy has been through some stuff and this is his way of really needing to get back with his kids. But was there a memorable scene for you, or maybe one that even challenged you the most, particularly for this one?
Well, I think you nailed it. I mean, that's one of the first scenes in the movie and arguably the most delicate for me because I'm dealing with all of the things of being away from my kids, while I was incarcerated for a couple of years. And I don't want to spoil it, but that's right early in the movie. And I want to fight for my kids. I want to fight to see my kids to get back in their lives, but also I need to respect Bruce and who he is to me. And, again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's delicate because of course I'm going to reconnect with my kids. I'm going to be in their life, but I also need to respect Bruce and I want to do it in the right way. Um, and, uh, and yeah, and then there's another scene where I speak Choctaw. I actually spoke some Choctaw, and it just kind of worked that day. It just flowed. So that's fun. You get a little more seasoned as an actor, and you start to spread your wings, and so it's cool to take risks and try things like that. I just spoke German in another film. I don't speak German. So yeah, but that was probably the most tricky scene. The hardest scene to watch for the audience will be the flashbacks. Yeah.
Boy, is is that right? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
these are moments where these are, back then you served and
You
you had to
served.
serve, and
You took
whether it was
took
right, whether
orders.
it was wrong, you just served. And of course, thank knock on wood, thankfully these aren't the case anymore. But back then, um,
Yeah.
you just did it, and I think those are probably the most difficult, as far as duty and honor and things like that, of course, especially back then. But as I mentioned,
Mhm.
truly the one with you and Bruce, there's just it's a little heart-wrenching there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. There's a lot. That's a charged scene, and it happens right out of the gate. And then there's some other scenes that are coming to mind. Later on in the film when I reconnect with A. Martinez, and it's nice because I had a professional personal relationship with him before. So it's always nice to get to work with dear friends. And so it was our first time, seeing each other in years, and then boom, we're doing these scenes together, and so those are really loaded in a good way. And then yeah, I didn't know Marty, but that was one of my favorite scenes with him. And we do a delicate dance. It is something right out of Unforgiven, to reference my favorite Clint Eastwood movie.
A little
Um,
tombstone in there, of course, as well.
yeah, a little Tombstone, and yeah, where we shot Old Mescal, a lot of things shot out there, a lot of classics. So it was also just cool to be in that space, and you can feel the history, the ghosts around there.
The cinematography is beautiful. I mean, the scene work is amazing, and of course, I'm eager for people to at least enjoy that as well, I should say, because it
Yeah.
is very immersive. And the shot work, I think that Gary does, up on the spurs, you see. Yeah, to notice like little tact, like things that will come back
Yes.
later, I think
Yes.
it is wonderful as well. What do you hope lingers with audiences that explore Farhaven?
Well,
Second chances,
it's funny.
clearly.
I was just texting with Gary earlier today. Farhaven 2 was mentioned, so that hopefully they like it enough to to want that. So I wouldn't say cat's out of the bag because it hasn't been decided yet, but hopefully the film will do well. And we'll get to do another one. But yeah, you know, it's a story of redemption, faith, family, standing up for what you believe in, and overcoming the obstacles that are put in your way. You know, my grandma always said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Hunter he's a strong character because he's
Oh yeah.
and it, you know, and it comes up with God. That's another scene with Lev. You know, where we talk about why I did what he did, and you know how kids are, and you know they can be mean, and he's in school, and you know they say bad things about me. So as a father, it's like God, I couldn't imagine that happening to my son, and so I think all of that, you know, plays in the movie, and audience is going to get to feel that.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say how much, Longmire is still a beloved series. When you started working on it, did you feel that there was such a palpable, lovable quality to the show?
You know, I kind of I kind of had a little chip on my shoulder for a while about that show. I mean, to go all the way back before the pilot, I wasn't sure about doing it. Branch didn't have that much to do in the pilot, you know, it was just a couple scenes. He's the only main character in the TV show that wasn't established in the books, but they created Branch to add more conflict to the TV show because you got, you know, less than an hour to tell a story, not 300, 400 pages. Um, and so I think I did a pretty good job bringing the conflict to the show. And you know, to the producers' credit, the writers' credit, they embraced that, and they sold me on it before the pilot. When I signed up, they were like, "No, you're going to have a lot more to do, and we're going to write for you. And we love that you can ride, and you know, you're an athletic guy, and you can do these other things. Like we need somebody who's, you know, as good as Walt in a different way, or maybe like 1% less than him, because obviously the show's Walt Longmire. But if they cast somebody as a Branch who wasn't a threat, then the show wouldn't be as interesting. So I love the journey that I got to do there. You know, again, I'm kind of perfect in an annoying way there in season one, and then season two is different, and you know, my last season was very different, as you know.
You touched on it a bit, but what's next for you? Have you been busy planning what could come for you in the near future, or even possibly writing some things for yourself?
I have. I'm excited for the strike to be over. And then I was able to shoot Sod and Stubble. It's an independent film. We were able to get a waiver. We were shut down for a few days, but thank God we got a waiver because it's a smaller film based on a book, Passion Project. It's the American dream, pioneers going to the frontier of Kansas at the time. Henry Eyes is his name. So he and his wife Rosie go out there kind of with, you know, a dollar and a dream, and stake their claim. And life was really hard back then, and it was about 107 degrees when we were out there shooting, so that wasn't very easy either. The generators wouldn't work, the gasoline and the generators were boiling. It was an interesting shoot, but I'll tell you what made it all okay was really good group of people, super nice. And that goes, you know, after you've been doing it for a while and you get to work with nice folks, that goes a long way in my book. And everybody out there was great. I saw some of the dailies. It looks good. You know, we had a skeleton crew, but I don't know, man. They were just great with the camera and use some boards. It's all natural light. And Dodie Brown is my wife in it, and I didn't know her going in, but she was amazing. So yeah, I can't wait. But that'll be out next year, 2024. Oh, you asked me about writing. I did.
Yes.
I I don't want to get sideways, with the WGA either, but I've been working. I'm not WGA for the record, but I've been working on I moved to North Carolina about 2 years ago, live up here in the mountains, which was awesome. And I've been, in my mind, developing the show. It's a little bit Longmire meets Justified, little Yellowstone thrown in because I love the cowboy thing. And so I was able to finish that during the strike. And so I'm looking forward to sending that out and working on a pitch package. And that's my dream to get that going. And we could do that half the year and then movies, whatever else the other half.
Okay, manifesting out
That's
into the
right. That's what we're
world.
doing. That's right. Hope you're listening.
What would you like to
Yeah.
say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the incredible work you continue to do on our screens, Bailey?
Oh, I do. I want you to meet my new addition. I was just looking earlier. He's probably sleeping. Hold on, I'm gonna get him. Bodie, where'd you go? Bodie, you back here? Come here. Yeah. Coming. He's back in his little favorite spot. I want everybody to meet Bodie. Here's Bodie. Bodie's 9 weeks. We just got him. He's a little camera shy.
I say you keep him. I vote to keep
Yeah,
him.
he's the best. We lost our boy Blue about a year ago, but now we got Bodie. And my kids are 7, 7, and 9. And so it's a good age for them to have this responsibility and trying to do it the right way here. So I'd like to say thank you to my fans. It's been quite a journey, and in many ways I feel like I'm just getting started, so settle in.